Folks, the stuff going on at the IEBC, Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, that appears to be good news, that appears to be a clean-up. It would appear that Chairman Wafula Chebukati has finally managed to suspend CEO Ezra Chiloba. The information coming in is that Bwana Chebukati has done this in order to do thorough investigations as to what went wrong in the just concluded elections last year. You will remember that Chebukati has tried this before. He tried to fire Chiloba. Chiloba said, no, there's no way I'm going. All the other commissioners said, no, there's no way Chiloba is going. And then finally, Chiloba himself said he has taken a personal decision to take a break. And therefore officially, he was not supposed to be around during the repeat elections of 26th March. But of course, those on this channel are no different. Chiloba was spotted all over the place. Anyway, let me not go into that. That's not the story here. Okay? Now, interestingly, in fact, very fascinatingly, this time Chiloba has received support. He has received support from 2 other commissioners to suspend Chiloba. And that's why it has worked this time round. The other 2 commissioners that Chebukati has received support from are Boya Molu, and Abdi Gulie. Now, the really juicy detail from this particular story is that the vice chair, you know her name is Consolata Nkatha Maina. Consolata stormed out of this meeting, which made the decision to suspend Bwana Chiloba. It is said that her parting shot was that she wanted nothing to do with the decision by Chebukati and the 2 other commissioners. Now, before I go any further, I need to point out something interesting here. Okay? From what we saw last year, it appears that the chairman of the IEBC has no power. It became very clear that there's no way the chairman of the IEBC can make a decision on their own. They have to make a collective decision. He has to make a collective decision together with the other commissioners. And yet, if anything went wrong, if something went wrong, and indeed a lot of things went wrong last year, you can only blame the chairman. So the chairman takes responsibility for the decision of other commissioners. What? There's something wrong here, isn't there? Of course there is. And I put it to you that the IEBC was set up because these laws are passed in Parliament. Okay? And we know the executive has full power over the legislature. And is currently seeking full power over the judiciary. That should not be a secret. And so it would appear that this law was carefully crafted with one thing in mind. And that is that elections will be fiddled with. Of course, the whole idea being, in case you have a chairman who's kichwa ngumu, he can be controlled by the other commissioners. That's the whole idea. Now, this is a hilarious law. The setup of the IEBC is just hilarious. You have a CEO who's in charge of the day-to-day running of the organization, and then you have commissioners who call the shots. Now already that is confusing. Already that seems to be a contradiction. How do you run an organization like that? Because ideally, the way an organization should work is that you have one person in charge, responsible for any actions, any decisions taken. In the corporate world, it's the CEO, okay? But he has a board to report to, and that board is headed by the chairman. Now, the reason why it is structured like that is because ordinarily a board would represent various shareholders, with various percentage interests in that organization. And this is how they manage at least to keep the CEO in check. Now, how does that work when it comes to the electoral body of a country? How? Assuming that the other commissioners are like directors on a board, what interest do these guys represent? I know they have individual responsibilities like ICT, human resources, and so on. But as we saw last year in August, those responsibilities really are a smokescreen. The reality is that all commissioners represent one interest, and that interest is the executive. That became very clear in August last year. The long and short of that is that it is impossible for anybody to win an election as long as there's that executive whose interests are being represented amongst the commissioners. That should be very clear. But there's something even more interesting about these latest developments at the IEBC, and I'm going to discuss them after the brief commercial break we're going into now. Don't go away.
Welcome to Coconut, home of Uzima, the best Kenyan extra virgin coconut oil. Our raw 100% natural coconut oil has potent antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal properties, specially made with you in mind. No detail is spared to make sure that you get the best oil packed with all the nutrients and antioxidants you need. So, what health, beauty, cooking, and household challenges do you need to solve naturally? Look no further. Call for your bottle or jar on 072 8604 471 or 0727 63 1114 or pick from any of our listed outlets below. Have a delightful experience with Uzima Extra Virgin Coconut Oil. Thank you.
Welcome back. So Chiloba has finally been suspended, and by the way, he has not yet received the letter, because apparently when the letter was taken, he had already stepped out of the office. Okay? And apparently his secretary refused to receive it on behalf of Bwana Chiloba. So the information is that Bwana Chiloba was supposed to receive his suspension letter this morning, Monday. Now, in my view, this is all play acting. This is all designed to fool the people of Kenya, that actually the IEBC is being structured. Yeah, it is very deliberate, and do not fool yourself for even 1 second that the IEBC is being cleaned up. Yeah, because who is cleaning it up? Let's get serious. In my view, this is a script, yeah, that was written somewhere inside the State House, and is designed to get a certain outcome. Yeah, it has a certain objective in mind, and that is to do some window dressing and pretend that the IEBC now is totally cleaned up. Yeah, and in the end, tell Kenyans that this IEBC is going to carry out free, fair, and credible elections. That is funny, because I don't think Kenyans are going to buy that. Kenyans are not going to be fooled. Okay, on the face value, I mean, if we look at it on the surface of things, it would appear that Chiloba's days are numbered. Okay, so you get out Chiloba from the IEBC. Does that mean that you have a better IEBC? Does that mean you have a new IEBC? No way. They will just get another puppet to replace Chiloba and to do what Chiloba has done for the Jubilee government. The IEBC really is a sham. Yeah, the IEBC are people who are definitely doing things which will not stand the test of time. The IEBC are toying around with the lives of Kenyans, innocent Kenyans. Sample this. After the IEBC announced the elections, the election results on 8th of August, people like Chiloba were seeing patting the backs of President Uhuru and Deputy President Ruto and laughing around with them. And so were people like Consolata Maina. Okay? Now I can hear some very short-sighted Kenyans asking, what's wrong with that? Are you serious? You go into a soccer match, yeah, and then after this match, the referee, who is supposed to be unbiased, seems to be very happy with one side, seems to be celebrating with one side. What would you think? What would you feel? Well, lest you forget, one of the commissioners of the IEBC was forced to flee the country. Yeah, remember Roslyn Akombe? She fled the country, and then she had some very interesting things to tell us. She told us that the IEBC is controlled by some politicians, that there are powerful politicians who control the IEBC. The decisions cannot be made at the IEBC unless they are okayed by some powerful politicians. Now again, I can hear some short-sighted Kenyans saying, those politicians could be anybody. It could be NASA, it could be Jubilee, it could be any of the two. My brother, wake up. My sister, wake up from your slumber. Now, the IEBC is constitutionally mandated to run elections in Kenya. Yeah, we know that. Now what that means is that these guys are given government security. Yeah, they're guarded by policemen. They're guarded by the government. I would expect that they're also closely monitored by the National Intelligence Services, NIS, and with good reason. Yeah, because you don't want the body being infiltrated to fiddle around with elections. Now, what all that means is that it would be impossible for anybody in the opposition to get through to the IEBC, yeah, let alone give instructions to some commissioners. It would just be impossible. However, it is a walk in the park for the government to penetrate IEBC. Yeah, they control NIS, they control the security of these commissioners, etc., etc. So let's be very clear what Rosalind Akombe meant when she said that it's controlled by politicians. Let's be very clear on that. Those politicians can only come from one side of the political divide. Only one, the government side. It's as simple as that. That is why I'm convinced beyond any reasonable doubt that this so-called hot new information really is just a charade. Yeah? And the whole objective is to fool Kenyans that our electoral body is actually independent. To fool Kenyans that our electoral body is not influenced by government, which is not true. We saw all that very clearly on August 8th last year. Folks, the government was not even pretending that IEBC is independent. They were not. They were giving instructions. For instance, the internal CS Fred Matiang'i announces a possible date for the elections, 17th October. You remember that? A few hours later, IEBC picks it up and announces that as the date. Surely remember that. Those elections were later on postponed to the 26th of October, but I believe I've made my point. And this is precisely the reason why, to many people, it is not the IEBC. It is the JEBC, Jubilee Electoral and Boundaries Commission. And so whatever drama that is going on inside there, as juicy as it is, should just be ignored by Kenyans. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.